was like, I like that. I love a moody vibe. I love your shoes. You're so cute.
Thank you, Zara.
I love Zara.
I love Zara.
For kids especially.
I got a whole storage just for A-list stuff. I'm like a hoarder. I have a problem. Somebody said to me, like, you can't make that much money with lashes. And my dad was like, no, you need to go back to school. You need to focus. I'm like, no. Like, I'm doing this. And I'm such a bull. Like, when something is in my head, like, I don't care what you tell me, I'm going to do it just to prove to you that I was right, that I know myself, you know?
Right.
I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was 8 of us living there. Like, seeing cockroaches was normal. Like, if I can inspire one person that comes from the same circumstance as me, that I'm doing something good, you know?
You are.
There's like this conference room, and like it was the longest table I've ever seen. And I was like, holy like, I did it. I'm a minority in this room. I built this company. It was such a like big moment for me that I was like, I just could do so much more.
Yris Palmer, welcome to Wonderland.
Thank you for having me, Khloé.
I begged Yris to come on, Khloé in Wonderland. How we are in our family is if someone is one person's friend, they sort of become the whole family's friend. So obviously Kylie met you and introduced you to the family. Mm-hmm. We sound like the mob, the family.
No, literally. And I've known Kylie now like 10 years. She was like 16.
2014 or something.
Yeah, she was like 16, 17. And now she's like, what, 26, 27? How old is she?
How old is Kylie? I don't know, 28?
Like
is she 28?
27? Literally 10 years
crazy.
Ago.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Happy 10 year. But then I think you and I knew you before kids, but then you and I really connected once we had kids because you have a daughter that's around True's age. Mm-hmm. And like, we're all just obsessed with you. You're just such a great girl, woman.
I'm obsessed with you. I feel like me and you have so many like similarities.
We do.
Even like our parenting style. We talk about it all the time, but I feel like we're very much alike and in tune.
We are. We're very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, I admire and respect so many things about you, but I think something really why I wanted you on the pod, I could talk to you forever, but I really wanted you on the pod was I think your story is so inspirational. I think it's so encouraging to other women, especially Latino women, minority women. I would love for you to talk about basically how you came to this phenomenal businesswoman and your humble beginnings and all of that stuff, if you don't mind sharing.
You know, it's so crazy because like I was telling you, I get asked to go on podcasts all the time and I like shy away from like podcasts or just like reality TV. That? I've been approached so much and I just feel like I'm truly an open book. Whoever I meet and I sit and I have a conversation with, I'm like I overshare. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think I overshare too much. Yeah. Where I'm like, why did you say all that? You know
I do this, and when I walk away, I'm like, what a loser am I? This person's going to think I'm nuts.
On our first sitting, I spill my entire life. And I'm like, why did I do that?
So why do you shy away from podcasts?
So I've shied away from it because I feel like I'm just going to overshare too much or like I'm going to say the wrong thing. And this year in particular, I feel like I'm going to do everything that I normally say no to. And I think, you know, the older that you get, the more confident you become with yourself and you really get to know you.
Yes.
And I feel like one of my superpowers is being an open book, is not shying away from my experiences or my circumstances or how I grew up. And I think like for my community, for my Latino community, I have a responsibility to share my story, to continue to inspire them, because when I do come across all the people that support me or have been following me or used to go to, you know, my first lash place where I used to do everybody's lashes, which is, by the way, in the hood in Van Nuys that I had everybody coming to, I feel like, wow, they've really followed me on my journey. And sometimes I think people, even now, they're like, how does she make money now? She's no longer lashing. Like, what does she do? Like, they don't know about all the businesses that I'm involved with, all like how I've diversified my income. And I think if I can inspire one person that comes from the same circumstance as me, that I'm doing something good, you know? And I think in my heart and in my gut, I truly feel like I am here to represent my community, my Salvadoran community. Like now I feel like people are becoming more aware with El Salvador, with, you know, the president that we have now and everything that's happening. But people didn't know about, you know, this little place in Central America. It's the smallest country. And I think my story starts with my parents' story, and that's my roots. And I think it is really important for me to continue to inspire my community through my journey and my story, because I have like beat the odds. You know, I come from immigrant parents who left El Salvador during the Civil War, not to come to LA and live in LA because they were about to get killed at survival mode, you know? So I feel like how I grew up and how my kids are growing up is night and day.
Right.
But
don't you look at yourself and you're like, damn, I did that?
Oh my God, I've had moments where I literally sit and cry because I'm like, I don't want to cry, but it makes me so emotional because I am like a true believer of whatever is meant for you will be for you. And there was like times where I didn't know how I was going to get to like the next part of my life, but like God would always place that one person that would open up the door for my next destination. You know what I mean? And I feel like I am like a true testament of God. And I feel like if I can do it, you can do it. Like I grew up in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was 8 of us living there. Like seeing cockroaches was normal. Like I never had a pool. I never had my own room. Like all of that, where like I had goals. I remember like some of my goals that I used to write down was like, I just want to own a house one day. I just want to have a kid that has a pool, like just things like that. It was like, how am I going to obtain those things when, you know, I don't have the resources. I don't have the parents to even help me read an English paper. Like I'm the one translating for my parents. I'm the one doing that. So for me, starting my own business was very much like Google. Google was my help for everything. And then meeting people along the way that was like, hey, you need a financial advisor. Hey, you need to put your money here. Hey, you know, and I'm so grateful for like some of my clients, honestly. When I first started my business, one of my clients, her mom owned some schools, and she was like, let me put you with my people. Like you need a financial advisor, you need an accountant, and I was like, oh, I guess I do need these people, you know, but it was stuff that like my parents couldn't teach me because.
But that's still a testament of you. So one, people want to give you these relationships and connections that they've built and worked hard to obtain because of who you are.
Yeah.
Like you're such a good person and you want the best for other people and you can feel that. You're not a gatekeeper like, well, f you, I got this and now I'm not going to share with you. Like you are just a good person. But then also when you and I talk, the way that you receive information too, like you're like, oh, okay. I'm like that. I don't think I know it all. I love when someone tries to put me on something. I'm like, oh, like I'm absorbing it.
I love being around smarter people than me because I'm still learning. Like every year, I'm growing, I'm learning. And I love to be around people that I'm inspired, you know, like even you, your mom, I love talking to your mom. Oh my God. Like I could sit and talk with her and pick her brain, and your mom and you guys are very much like that too. Like very girls, help with anything that we need, you know, any resources. Even when we were on the plane and we were talking about like, do I insure like individual things in my house, like during the fires, you know, like, or even buying my house, like you came over, you helped me, you looked at it, like, is this a good property? You know what I mean? Like those, like, I really appreciate all of that help, or like me being able to call Kylie for anything. And I'm like, can you ask your mom? Or like, you know, like I really appreciate that guidance because I never had that. So I always tell her, I'm like, you're so lucky you have your mom. You're so lucky you know, and I feel like I will be that for my daughter because I'm like, you know, living that now, but I didn't have that. So for the people that don't have that, there is hope there. As long as I feel like you are determined and you're willing to put like the work ethic behind it, because nothing works without the work ethic.
But also like the non-ego, like how you absorb, like you're willing to ask for help, ask for guidance.
You have to be humble.
Yes.
Because you could be up here.
Anybody.
You know what I mean?
I believe in that. What goes up will go down.
Yes.
It's just the law of life.
Yeah.
And you have to be humble, and it's okay to not know something. And I do love being sort of the dumbest person in the room, because I'm like, let me learn and absorb what's going on. I don't want to be the smartest all the time. Yeah. Because that's not fun. But how did you start? So you come from immigrant parents that don't speak English.
Yes. So growing up, I mean, my dad worked Monday through Saturday. He installed carpet. And, you know, back then carpet was
king.
Yeah, you had carpet everywhere. Now we're like wood floor everywhere and a rug. But before it was, all about that. So the work ethic, I always saw my dad like work from, literally from 8 to like 7, he'd be gone. We never went on like family trips. We never did none of that. Like, but my dad, I never was without food. I never was without a roof, like we made it work. But if like my aunt needed to stay, like whoever needed to stay with us, we would all cramp in there. My brother had his first 2 kids in there, his baby mother in there. Like we were just all living there. We had 3 beds in one room. Like the setup was crazy, I just think like our community, especially like Latino communities, we're like hustlers from the start.
Yes.
We just don't have like the business sense and how to properly do stuff. But like since I was in elementary, I used to make my dad take me to Smart and Final and buy me like the pack of hot Cheetos. And then I would go to school and I would sell them for $1. I used to buy them for 25 cents. So I think like everything started from like when I was a kid. I've always had that hustler like
mentality
since I was a kid. Then I got to middle school. I was bedazzling shorts. And then the minute I turned 15, I was like, I'm getting a job. And my dad was like, no, like, I think, all my dad wanted me to focus on was school. He wanted me to go to college and, work for a good company and like just the typical thing that I feel like our parents are like tell us to do. And I was like, I need to make side money. Like I want new Vans. Like I want a JanSport backpack. Like I used to want to have like the matching purple Vans with the purple JanSport backpack and a bra strap. And I would get up every morning at 7 a.m. and crunch my hair. And like, that was like my thing.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
So I turned 15 and I went to a Mexican restaurant and I asked if I could be a hostess, if they could pay me like cash, because I wasn't like, you're not able to work at 15, first of all. So that was my first job. And from then I worked at Abercrombie & Fitch. I worked at Pinkberry, the one on Sunset, because that one gave me more hours because it stayed open till 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And then I worked at Crocs at the Grove. And I'm born and raised in LA. I went to Fairfax High School, which is the Grove is like our hangout spot.
Right.
And Crocs, it was like this little kiosk at the Grove. So I'm not even in an actual store. I'm in a kiosk. And I'm a cheerleader at Fairfax. Okay. So I'm like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. Like all my friends are going to come here. And I'm like at the kiosk. And during the Christmas time, it would get cold. But the commission was so good at Crocs.
Right.
Like every time you sell a gibbet, the little things that...
Oh, the
little accessories.
Okay.
You get really good commission. So I'm like, my checks are good. So I'm like, I'm about to gift it to the football players, to the cheerleaders, and just make it cool and like whatever. I work here,
Right.
And so then I went from there to a job in Beverly Hills at Pea in the Pod. And Pea in the Pod was, like a higher
maternity.
Yeah, but like a luxury, more upscale store. And then I started working with like, different clientele. And I don't know, I would look at my checks and I'd be like, $800 every 2 weeks is just it's not cutting it,
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I need something on the side. And I always wanted to kind of try acting, but I was scared, number one, to put myself out there. I'm like, where do people even start? Like, how do you get an agent? How do you audition? How do you do these things? And then being from LA, you see all these people move from Texas, and they're like the struggling actor. They're like, like they don't have no job. They're living in their car. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I've always had a job. Like I need something on the side. So then I was in London because, Ayla's dad is British.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go back and forth in London, and everybody in London had these lash extensions. And I remember thinking, who does lashes in LA? And I couldn't think of like a company that was like the it company. So I was like, I'm going to take a class here and I'm going to start doing this on the side. And I started doing the calculations. I'm like, people are charging $250 to $300 for these eyelash extensions. I'm like, if I could do 2 or 3 people a day, like a day, like in a week, 5 people, like I'm good. I'm making like $1,000 a week.
Right.
Like, so I was like, that's going to be like my side hustle. So I Googled like, how do you start a business? Like whatever. I thought about a name and I was like, hey, I live in LA. Everybody wants to be around stars and look like a star. So I named it Star Lash Extensions.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to be anonymous in case I sucked. I was like, I don't want people to know this is me. Like, so I did the whole business anonymous and it was just me. First of all, I was good, like naturally good, that I was like, oh, I'm good at this. So, and I've never like, you know how people are like, I dream of being a doctor. I never dreamed about being like in the beauty space. Like that was it. I just fell into it. And I just saw that window of opportunity that I was like, I could probably do this.
Yeah.
So I come back to LA and I'm posting. This is 2014. So this is when Instagram too was very like, kind of like fresh and new, you know? So I was posting a lot of before and afters side by side. So I would show you what your lashes looked like before and then after, because a lot of people just show the after, but it's like, I want to see the transformation, you know? So I was doing a lot of that. Then Christina Milian started liking some of my pictures. And I was like, wait, Christina Milian's liking my pictures? So I DM'd her and I'm like, I would love to do your lashes. I saw you liking some of my stuff. She was like, oh my God, yeah, let's set it up. And I was like, okay. So we set it up, so nervous. I take 3 hours on her lashes. Oh my God. And I was like, I messed up. Like I took way too long. I'm sweating. This is my first time. She thinks I've been doing this for a while. I'm like, I just started like a month ago. So she puts a picture on her Instagram. Okay. And so from there, people started finding me. Then they call me and they're like, hey, we're looking for the girl that did Christina Milian's lashes. We're calling for Selena Gomez. She has a movie premiere. We're wondering what her rate is to come to the Four Seasons, whatever. And I'm like, oh, for what day? Yeah, she's available. Like I'm playing, like I'm pretending to play like my secretary or like whatever. I'm like, it's me, myself. And I'm like, what do I charge them? Like, oh my God, right? So I was just honestly happy just to even be like, just doing it. Yeah. So I get there and I do her lashes. And again, I'm like nervous. I'm like, oh, I just want to be good. So I remember I remember they were like, okay, yeah, what's the total? And I'm like, honestly, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I didn't even want to charge her, okay? Her Simpson's like, no, we're going to pay you. Like, the last girl, we were paying like $600, whatever. So she paid me $500. And I remember I got in the car and I called my dad and I was like, I just made $500. Like, and I was driving and I was like, this is going to be my business. And I remember like, I got back and I was like, to my room in Van Nuys. And I was like, this is going to be my business and I'm going to make this like big.
Be honest. When was the last time that you actually went to the doctor when something felt off? I will go first. I once convinced myself that a weird rash on my arm was probably stress, and I waited a full week before doing anything about it. Why is that? Because booking an appointment just felt like a lot. I didn't know who to go to. I'm super busy. And honestly, I just convinced myself it would go away on its own. We've all made those excuses. I'm too busy. I don't need help. I don't even know what kind of doctor I need. And then, of course, we do what any modern adult does. We spiral into the is this normal rabbit hole on social media or Google. You've been there. I know you have. You wake up with an itchy eye or some funky neck pain, and the next thing you know, you are 10 videos deep thinking that you've got something that no one has had since 1872. But seriously, ZocDoc is the fix for all of that. It makes finding and booking a doctor actually easy. No guesswork, no calling around, no 3-month wait lists. Just open up the free ZocDoc app or go to the website, search by what you need, filter by your insurance, location, and even patient reviews. And then you just click to book. You can see real-time appointment times and lock in one instantly. We're talking appointments with high-quality, in-network doctors across every specialty. From mental health to dental health, urgent care to dermatology, usually within 24 to 72 hours. Sometimes even the same day. I recently had a dental emergency, and I was able to find a dentist right down the street from my office, and I was able to get in the same day. And let's be real, no one should be settling when it comes to our health. If you've ever had a therapist that's only available at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, or a dentist who likes to small talk while you're mid-cleaning, there is a better way. I use this, and you should too. Stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/Khloe to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/Khloe. ZocDoc.com/Khloe. All right, everybody, I have huge news. One of my absolute favorite supplement brands, Symbiotica, just dropped something totally game-changing, the first ever liquid colostrum. Seriously, it feels like everybody is buzzing about colostrum right now, and Symbiotica just raised the bar big time. Forget the bulky powders where you need like 4 scoops a day. This comes in a single convenient liquid packet. One and done. And the flavor? Vanilla sea salt that tastes exactly like cake batter. I am not kidding. It's so delicious that it kind of feels like a treat, but it's actually packed with incredible benefits. So, what is colostrum? It's the first milk mammals produce right after giving birth. It's nature's OG superfood. It's loaded with essential vitamins, minerals, and growth factors that are key for longevity. If you've ever struggled with gut issues or want that glowy skin, healthy hair, and strong nails, this is absolutely for you. What makes Symbiotica's liquid colostrum stand out is that it's a full raw complex, completely unprocessed. They source it from a family-owned farm right here in California with grass-fed cows. This means it's the most bioavailable colostrum out there. They follow the calves first promise, so baby calves always get what they need before anyone else. I've always trusted Symbiotica for clean and science-backed wellness. Their formulas never include seed oils, preservatives, toxins, artificial junk, or fake natural flavors. You can truly taste and feel the difference in every single packet. So here's the deal. Try the first ever liquid colostrum today. Head over to symbiotica.com/Khloe for 25% off and free shipping. That's CYMBIOTIKA.com/Khloe. Don't miss out.
I remember somebody who said to me, like, you can't make that much money with lashes. And my dad was like, no, you need to go back to school. You need to focus. I'm like, no. Like, I'm doing this. And I'm such a bull. Like, I'm a Taurus. I'm literally so headstrong that when something is in my head, like, I don't care what you tell me, I'm going to do it just to prove to you that I was right, that I know myself, you know?
Right.
So I literally, from there, it just took off. I made an email, like my emails were crazy. Then I get a call to come do one of the Kardashians. I thought it was Kim. And I get there and it's Kylie. And I'm like, the baby? and then I started doing Kylie's lashes. She posted a picture, tagged me. Then it was a ripple effect. But I think for me, everybody wanted to try me because it's kind of like a word of mouth thing. Mm-hmm. Luckily for me, they all stuck with me. So I became their main lash person. And then from there, like, you know, I built my own relationships with them and some of them became my friends and whatnot. And then I was like, I got a call to do an in-house for this other person and at her salon, and it was Sev. So I went to go do her lashes at the Melrose location.
Sev is someone who owns
Sev Laser.
Sev Laser, and she does all of our laser hair removal, which everyone needs.
Yes, which is also, she's also one of my business partners. And so I remember at this point now, I have like a cool deck of, you know, celebrity clientele that I'm doing. So, and she's smart. Sev is really smart.
Sev is very smart.
Sev, while I'm doing her lashes, she's like, where are you working from? And I'm like, from my dad's apartment in Van Nuys. Mind you, like my dad's apartment in Van Nuys was in the hood, you guys. He would go to work at 8. My business hours were from 9 to 6. My dad normally gets home like 7:38. I had a little chalkboard from Home Goods. Shout out to Home Goods. I still love Home Goods. And with the chalk, I wrote my hours, my prices, and had my little setup there, okay? Everybody was coming there. People didn't care that I was in the hood. They were all coming there. And then everybody else, celebrities, had house calls that I would go to. So I'm like, I'm working for my dad's place in Van Nuys. And she goes, why don't you use this space? And like, you know, we help each other and you bring me like your celebrity clientele. And I was like, this nice place on Melrose Avenue?
It is.
Yes.
She has great taste.
I was like, oh my God, yes, let's do it. And, you know, I read this, there's a quote that says something like the women at the top are collaborating and not competing. And like Seb was kind of like, let's help each other from the start. Mm-hmm. Like, let's help each other. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then while I was there, I would always have this fear like, oh my God, I'm making so much money right now. Like I literally felt like a lash like drug dealer because of all the cash that I was touching. And I was like, I remember like, and I have always been this person like where I want the finer things. I want, you know, like I wanted the Chanel bag that I could never afford. That was a goal for me, you know? And I know it's like a material thing, but for me, they were like goals.
Yeah.
So when I was able to go and buy it cash at Saks Fifth Avenue and this is when the jumbos were like $5,800. I was like, you couldn't tell me anything. I was on a high, you know, I was like, I'm buying Chanel bags every week. Like, oh my God, like this is crazy, you know, like, so for me, I was like, what if something happens to my hands? How am I going to continue to make this kind of money? So being there, and they would see like 50 people a day with the laser machine. I started to get curious about the laser machine. And I'm like, how much are these machines? And I'm like, I can only see 8 people max a day. They're seeing like 50, 60. So then I started to get curious about the laser business. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, how much is a machine? And she's like, they're about like $100,000. And I was like, okay. So then I was like, I'm going to save $100,000 cash. And then I'm going to ask her if I can invest in her business. If I could buy a machine, a laser machine, and like I can, put my money into something else. So I did it. I saved my money. And then I asked her, have you ever thought about expanding? What if we open like a joint location in like Sherman Oaks? She goes, yeah, okay, let's do it. I was like, I'll put up the money for, the first location. We'll split everything 50-50. And I was her first partner. That was one of the best investments that I've ever made, and the start.
But all of this is, I think we need to point out. So yes, when you're on, like if you're on a luck streak, which it's more than luck, you had talent, you just didn't realize that that's what you were good at until you tried doing lashes and you're like, oh shit, I'm actually good at this.
Yeah.
But being able to make that much money and maintain the money, like money is easy to spend.
Oh my God, yes.
So I think you have to give yourself so much credit, like to save money, and then also to be aware enough to say, what if something happens to my hands? I need to invest in something bigger. For you to have that wherewithal and just, I think the business mindset, like I'm going to make this a long-term thing. And you don't want to be doing lashes for the rest of your life, because it does get really grueling.
Yeah.
So I think that mindset is that Taurus in you, is that hustler in you.
Yeah.
And then for you to be like, I'm okay, $100,000, like that's so much fucking money for you to be able to do that and actually save the money.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like your work ethic is on another level. My parents never taught me about money because I don't know, my dad just died, I think, when I was too young to learn. And my mom wasn't great at it. Now she's great at it, but she had to learn sort of the hard way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your parents didn't get to teach you about money. And so for you to teach yourself, I think is so inspiring.
Thank you.
Then for you to turn it around, you invested in Sev's business.
So I invested in that. The importance of diversifying your income, I cannot stress that enough. And like people don't know, like I'm a silent investor in a lot of things. And like I'm also very much like, you don't need to know whatever I'm invested in, because I like to pour a lot into like women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, or like products and things that I truly use, believe in, and I stand behind. So like I don't want you to think I'm just promoting this because she's invested in it and she just you know, no, I go laser there. No, I like the service or whatever. So a lot of people don't know like everything that my hands are in. During COVID, when the beauty space was like shut down, we were forced to close. Like, so at this point now, like I opened my own store because me and Sev opened a joint one, and I had one room in that Sev. It was in Sherman Oaks, and I had 3 lash beds. So I had 3 girls now working for me in there, and I was at capacity where I was like, I need my own space now, but I'm still scared to like commit to like a 5-year lease. Most commercial leases are 5 to 7 years.
Right.
So I was like, how is my business going to do in 5 years? Like, I don't know. And I was pregnant with Ayla at the time, working my whole pregnancy. Like I was just on grind mode. And so like taking that leap, I really think it was like Ayla that gave me the strength, was like, no, like you can do this. So I signed that 5-year lease. We moved Sev, Sherman Oaks to Calabasas. I opened my Star Lash in Sherman Oaks, and I had about like 7 lash techs working for me. It was booming.
Crazy?
No,
Yeah,
it was crazy.
crazy.
I remember like I did a dinner like at the store, and I was just like, oh my God, I have like these group of girls that like I help them make money. And it was just such an empowering feeling and such a high for me that I was like, I just want to continue to work with women. I want to continue to be in business. And like, I knew like the lash thing wasn't my passion or my forever thing, but it was the start of a journey that really taught me about business and being an entrepreneur and, all of these other things. And during COVID, when that business had to shut down, I was already invested in Sev, and people didn't know that. It's considered medical. And so that stayed open because it was an essential business.
Right.
So that kept me afloat. That was paying for my rents in Sherman Oaks. That was helping me with everything else. My house at the time, I was renting a house, and, it was paying all of my bills. And I was like, thank God, I did
Thank
this.
God you
Thank
made
God
that
I
choice.
diversed
Yeah.
my income, you know? And that was the start of me really being like, okay, I need to put my money into other businesses and, you know, just expand my portfolio in business. God will always drop a person in my life that helps me expand to other things. So I'm really, really big on like manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
And right before I started Lash, I remember I was exploring religion because I feel like we are whatever our parents tell us to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked into a Buddhist temple like by myself, and I'm like, what do Buddhists believe in? Like what? Like, and I met this lady, this random lady, and she gave me some beads, and they do this chant. She taught me the chant. It's like Namyo Horenge Kyo with the beads. And she had told me when we're chanting, we're calling for all of the things that we're meant to be, or all like everything that we believe in. And I thought that was so interesting. And she had told me like, go home and make a vision board and put everything you want on this vision board. And that's when I started making vision boards. Okay, this is this random lady. And I whatever she said to me really like
resonated.
Yes. And so I went home and I did a vision board, and everything on my vision board came true. Not the way that I thought it was going to come true, because remember at the time I wanted to try acting, but I never even got the chance to audition or to do anything because my business Lash took off.
Right.
So I was like, forget the acting.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to stick to what's working for me. So I had put, you know, naturally like all the Latina powerhouse women that I grew up like looking at and being inspired by, which was like Eva Longoria, Eva Mendes, you know, Jennifer Lopez, like all of these people, they were all on my vision board. And I ended up working with them, just not in the way that I thought that I was going to end up being them, you know?
Right.
And so COVID happened, whatever. I get a call to do this podcast with Eva Longoria.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, wait, this is so crazy. Like she's always been on my vision board, whatever. I did a podcast with her, and when we got on the podcast, I just felt like I knew her. Like it was the weirdest thing. And she's such a girl's girl as well, and like very welcoming and really behind her community. She, after the podcast, she was like, oh my God, we have to connect. And we had like a mutual person that we both work with. And she started bringing me like into her businesses and her investments. And one of the things that I'm invested in is her tequila, Casa del Sol, how she empowers the women in her, even in her work field and everything. She's all about like uplifting like the next woman. I admire her, but I like, there's a lot of people in the industry that we know that like, you know, people, they're not looking to like uplift the next or like really like look out for you, you know, like there's only a certain handful of people that really are like, let me see how I can help this person, you know? And she's really that person. Like even when we get invited, she invites me to all these events, or we went to F1 and she had, you know, these people pay all this money for like my ticket, Troy's ticket. We're there, people want to take pictures of her, and she's like, stand up, get in this picture with me. Like she's just like very like that, you know?
She is.
And I love that about her. And she's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And like just gives me like an extra push and like confidence that I'm like, God, thank you. Like you believe in me.
That is something that's going to teach, like you're already like that, but I think it just encourages you to do that for the next person. And you are that person.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people also, like I said at the beginning, you're not a gatekeeper. People want to see you win and help you grow because you want to do the same for others. And I do believe in karma. I do believe that God does that. And I think,
whatever you put out, you get it back.
I agree.
Like I'm such a believer in that.
I agree. For women who are, especially women of minority that are wanting to start something, but they feel like, oh, that's too hard or it's like overwhelming, what would you say?
There's always a way, and God will always find a way. Like when I didn't know where this journey was going to go, he was like, oh, here you go. Let me open this door for you, you know, and doors just continue to open. And I truly believe that what is meant for you is for you. And I don't know, this year especially, like I just feel like I am meant to share more of my story. I'm meant to just be more around my community and how can I help them now? So when I started teaching my classes to, you know, a lot of people that want to do lashes or start their own business, I had this checklist where I'm like, make sure you're ADA compliant. There's this company that actually does that. You pay them $600. They come and they make sure your bathroom is great. You have this, you have that. But I didn't know those things. Those are all mistakes that I've learned along the way. But I always say like I feel like the best experience is on.
It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to live it to experience it. But It is great that you are sharing because everyone loves to share their highlight reel. And there's so much more that goes, you have to do
the
a lot of.
The struggle is
Yes.
real, and you have to share your struggle too. Because it's
You
like
do.
people look at I feel like people look at your page or people look at our page and they're like, oh, she just lives this nice life. And they don't know, they don't know what it's taken for me to get here, know?
Right.
And even with my daughter, like with Ayla, I make her so aware because there's a lot of, she's growing up in a whole different lifestyle that I ever grew up in. But there's a lot of things where I have to like check her and humble her and, make her realize how I grew up and how she's so blessed. And I'm doing the best I can to provide this life for her. But if you want anything more, baby, you're going to have to work for yourself. And you have to learn how to get it on your own,
Well, Ayla is so determined. If she is a mini you.
She's a hustler.
Through and through. She is.
No, and she has something different that I don't have. Like, first of all, she's like way more poised than I will ever be in my whole entire life. Like, sometimes she corrects me on like words and I'm like, Ayla, I was like, English wasn't my first language. So I don't know proper English and I don't even know proper Spanish. Like, I'm just like, when I'm saying something, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, and she'll be like, Mom, you mean, like, she'll correct me all the time on things. But she isn't afraid either. Like how she asked Kim at True's birthday.
Oh, she's the cutest.
She's not afraid to like ask for like, I guess like I'm more reserved where like I'm like, I'll do it by myself. Like I'll never ask you for help or anything. She'll be like, well, I'm sure they can introduce me to somebody that can help me with potentially she wants to do like a voiceover for a movie, and she went up to Kim and she congratulated Sam on the Angry Birds movie.
Yes.
And she goes, that is one of my dreams. If you have any way you can help me. And I was like,
and Ayla's 8.
And Ayla's 8.
Yes.
And I'm like this, like dying in the back. I'm like, Ayla.
But so respectful, it's so crazy how she knows how to position her request, I guess, with a compliment. Like, that takes adults so long to learn.
And Khloé was like, and I was like, oh my God, Khloé, I'm dying. Khloé's like, go Ayla.
Yeah, no, I was like, you have to applaud anyone, but let alone an 8-year-old that's so genuine, so articulate. And yeah, she is so poised. It's really what it is.
She's a little hustler.
My ladies, we all have a dream of thicker, fuller hair, right? If you're noticing more shedding lately, on your brush, in the shower, tangled in your favorite sweatshirt, thinning hair is incredibly common, and yet no one ever really talks about how stressful and overwhelming it is. You start Googling things, trying every shampoo in the aisle, crossing your fingers that something works. That's why I want to tell you about Hers Hair. Hers hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients that many other hair products out there don't have. That means you're not just guessing anymore. You're actually using formulas backed by science. And Hers gives you options. Whether you prefer a topical solution, an oral treatment, or something with added hair vitamins and supplements, you can find what works best for you and your routine. Plus, it's all super personalized. You start with a quick online hair quiz, takes just a couple minutes, and from there, you'll be connected with a provider who can create a treatment plan tailored to your specific hair goals. And this is one of my favorite parts. Through Hers, everything is 100% online, so no pharmacy trips, no doctor's visits, or insurance required. I mean, it's awesome to get expert help without ever leaving your couch. Treatments start at just $35 a month, which is way less than I've spent on products that ended up in the back of my cabinet or the trash can. And the best part? You can get thicker, fuller, healthier hair and start seeing the regrowth in as little as 3 to 6 months. So, if you're ready to stop stressing about shedding and actually do something about it, here's how to get started. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/Khloe. That's FORHERS.com/Khloe for your personalized hair loss treatment options. forhers.com/Khloe. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies on product and subscription plan. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. That's right, no prescription needed. Here's the thing. About a third of women face barriers to accessing prescription birth control. Whether it's the hassle of just getting an appointment, taking the time off of work or school, dealing with insurance, or just carrying the constant mental load, it adds up. And honestly, it's something that people have had to deal with for far too long. But now, Opill is changing that. It's empowering women by putting birth control in your control. For the first time, you don't need to ask permission, don't need health insurance, and don't need anybody's opinion to take the daily birth control pill. Opill is FDA approved, full prescription strength, estrogen free, and again, no prescription is required. You can find it online or at most major retailers. And as someone who's seen friends and family struggle just to stay consistent with their reproductive health options, I have to say that this is huge. The ease, the access, the autonomy, it's a real win. Opill is the birth control in your control. And you can use code Khloe for 25% off your first month at Opill at opill.com. That's code Khloe at OPILL.com. Check out Opill to see if it's right for you. If you're listening to this, chances are that you already love reality TV. And you definitely know Khloe Kardashian. She's real, she's raw, she tells it like it is. So it makes perfect sense that Khloe's world and all the wild, glamorous, emotional moments that come with it is streaming on Hulu. The Kardashians is back in 2025, navigating life, family, fashion, and everything in between. But Hulu's reality game goes way beyond Calabasas. You've got the scandal and drama of Vanderpump Villa, my personal favorite guilty pleasure, the forbidden desires of the secret lives of Mormon wives, the twisted fun of Gotta Get Out, and so much more. If you're into glamour and romance, things are heating up on Hulu. Catch new seasons of Project Runway and Bachelor in Paradise this summer. And coming soon, catch the all-new reality series Love Thy Nader, starring the Nader sisters. Plus, don't miss an all-new season of Love Island UK streaming only on Hulu. There's so much great reality on Hulu, it's almost too real. So whether you're Team Khloe or just here for the drama, Hulu is the home of reality TV. Hulu gets real. Start streaming now.
Do you get nervous? Are you happy like that your kids are growing up in a different way? What is the emotion?
It's both. It's a mixture of I feel very blessed and grateful, but I am also scared. Like I'm scared for her. She really wants to pursue acting. She really wants to pursue, all these things. And I'm like, oh God, a part of me is like, let me just keep her here. And like, you don't need to do that right now. And like, but then a part of her just really wants it. And I'm like, how can I shut down her dreams? Like what influences that when I'm telling her to go after her dreams, So it's
Right.
kind of like.
And you show her every day to go after her dreams.
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a mixture, but.
I also love that you keep your heritage, your culture so alive through yourself, but so much through Ayla. And it doesn't seem forced. It's like genuinely.
Oh no, I took her back to El Salvador and I was scared to take her back because at the time El
remember.
Salvador still wasn't the safest. And I took her and Troy and I was scared too because that's not
Troy is Iris's fiance.
Yes. And he, for both of them, I was like, oh God, this is going to be a culture shock. And where my parents grew up, it's like, I mean, they don't even have a toilet still. Like it's a black hole and it's not even in the house. Like you have to go up. There's no AC. It's very much, the country and just really, really poor. Like my dad didn't have a pair of shoes till he was 16. And he always tells me there's so many people we need to help in El Salvador. And going back and taking, Ayla and taking Troy. And I partnered up with this organization called Glasswing and they do a lot of work for the children and the women in El Salvador. I did a free lash class and I just went to kind of inspire them. And we took toys for the kids and taking her to see that is so important. Because
so important.
Yeah, and I had a pep talk with her and I'm like, listen, these kids, some don't even have shoes, okay? You might have to come back with no shoes because we're going to give them everything. But that world is very, very important for me to teach them, And I was literally telling Kylie last week, I was like, we need to do something every year where let's take the kids, let's take them to give back and to see that and, for them to realize how blessed they are.
My dad did that with us all the time.
It's so good.
It's so good. And he would drive us down, whether it be Skid Row, we would make food and hand out food just so we never felt because we grew up in Beverly Hills. My dad's from Inglewood, but he moved out when he was, early 20s. He made his own money and moved out and got a house in Beverly Hills. But he was like, this is my money, not your money. So he's like, you guys,
and
that's
a really important lesson too. Because I think a lot of the times when you grow up so privileged or, knowing my mom has money, my dad has money, it's like, I'm good,
Right.
But if something happens to me or to you, it's just so important to teach them work ethic.
Tools, yes.
And it's like you think you're helping, but you're hindering them.
You are. Let's talk about how you balance motherhood and all of your businesses because you do a really seamless job.
Honestly, I think everything is a balance. And I think you're never going to give something 100% when you're wearing different hats, And I think it's okay. It's okay if I can only give Ayla 70% today because I had 4 meetings today because this is how I upkeep, a roof over her head or clothes on her back. Just being gentle with yourself because sometimes mom guilt is so real. And I think we like know that, especially with your first kid. I think now that I have two, and you might probably feel the same way, I think it gets a little easier. Like to leave them, I'm like, they have each other.
Yes.
Right?
No,
Whereas
it
like
does.
when it was just Ayla, like I would feel more guilty. Now
Mhm.
I'm like, they're good. They entertain each other. And like I'm teaching her as well. Like you have to protect your brother, and you guys are all you have, because if something happens to me, like I don't like when it's like the siblings hate each other, or
Right.
it's like, but I
No,
think
your
you have
kids
to
are obsessed with each other.
you have to instill the love, and like
Yes.
you have to like remind them of like what's important is you two. I think it got easier with having the second, but it's also like more workload on me with the second,
Right.
but I feel like I'm all for getting all the help that you need. Like my mom helps us a lot, and I feel like your team is like essential to continue, like for my success. It's like I need my team. Like I need Troy to help me picking up the kids. I need my mom to help me if I have this work event. I feel
I
like
think people find
I feel like people
shame.
look down on
Yes.
like having help.
Right.
And I think like
Well, how can you do it all if
but
you
also
don't have
like
help?
why would I be so exhausted that now I can't take this meeting or can't creatively think of like my next project, because
Right.
I'm like overworking myself and I think like a lot of the times too, like men, I feel like have always tried to box us in one corner. And I've
Mhm.
always like said this, like I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a businesswoman. I'm not just, someone's partner. Like I'm many things. I wear different hats, and like I can do that. Like
Mhm.
we can balance a work and kids and a man, and like you just are gonna fall short some days on
Right.
everything. I can't give you my attention.
And give yourself grace with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I do think people have shame or embarrassment about asking for help, especially with their kids.
Yeah.
And whether it be someone that's hired like a nanny or a daycare service, or if you're lucky enough to have your parents or
Yeah.
husband, that's amazing. And you can't do it all.
You cannot.
No, you need
cannot.
that. It takes a village to raise a
It
family.
really takes a village.
It does.
Yeah.
That expression is so true. What are your non-negotiables when it comes to self-care, mental health, like owning as a businesswoman?
Help is non-negotiable. I do also like crave out like certain hours. When I wake up, I'm trying to do the 5 a.m. wake up.
Oh, I see you post about this book, the 5
Yes,
a.m. rule
the
or
5 a.m.
something?
club.
Yes.
Because actually I had a conversation with your mom, and your mom said to me like, oh, by 11 a.m. I've gone to the city and came back. And I'm like, by 11 a.m.? And I'm
It's
like,
also crazy.
I need to step it up, because the minute you wake up, you're waking up at 7, you're like, I got to get up, get them ready. Like I have all these million things to do, that it's like, where is this time for myself? Where can I like look at my emails before everybody has gotten up? So I'm trying to get up by 5:30, take an hour from 5:30 to 6:30 and look at my emails and, whatever. Because when they wake up, it's their
Go
time. It's
yeah.
their time until I drop them off. So I take one kid, Troy will take the other kid. And so the other kid, my son. And so, actually normally takes Ayla because that's the longer drive. So I'm like, you can take Ayla. I'll take the shorter drive. So by the time I drop them off, it's 8:30. So after 8:30 is like, I won't answer my like no work calls or nothing before that. And then I end my day by like 5, because that's normally when they're like home from school and everything. So my window is from 8:30 to 5, and people know like I will not answer. And if it's anything about work, once my kids come home, no, I have to cook dinner. I have to help them with homework. Like that is their time. So I think just like having like boundaries
Yes.
is so important, because then people know, okay, I'm not even going to call her before 8:30.
Right.
Like it's my kid's time. Like I don't want to think about work right now until I drop off my kid at school, and then I'm like, okay. Then I'll be
Right.
with you on the phone. I don't want to be on the phone with you while I'm dropping off my kids, because that's not fair to them. We're driving to school. I want to listen to a fun song or whatever. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like that's
Well, people won't give it to you. Like people
Oh,
are going to
no.
be like, you need
and
time
that's
with
another
your
thing.
kids right now.
And that's another thing. It's like in business, what I've learned is like I've always been so nice. And then it's like nice doesn't get you. You have to be assertive. You have to have your boundaries. And I think that just also comes with age and being more confident, where it's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
No. You want me to fly here for work? It needs to be a first class business.
Right.
I need to be comfortable. Or
Yeah.
No, like, you know what I mean? You start to have your like
Your
rules. Yeah, your
non-negotiables.
non-negotiables. So I think that's really important for me, is like the boundaries of my work hours.
And I love that you do take time to spend with your spouse. Like, I think that's
That
so
is
important.
so
You have
important.
your 2 kids, you have your businesses, all the stuff that you do.
And I love to travel, because I never traveled growing up.
Mhm.
I have a trip booked every month where I'm like, and I'm also the type where I'm like, Ayla can miss a week off of school. It's fine. I'm not the parent that's like, she has to go to school every day. I just feel like life experiences are more important. I did a year in college, Pasadena City College. I felt like I had let my dad down so bad. And all of my friends left to college and, got their degrees. And I was like, oh my God, I failed him in the one thing he wanted me to do, but because I was following a whole different path. And now, oh my God, he's so proud of me. Yes. I take care of my mom, my dad, like everybody relies on me.
Yes.
And so that's also a lot of pressure in itself where I'm like, I got to keep it going. Like, what else can I invest in? What else can I do? And so I never stop. Like, my brain doesn't shut down. And like, I'm currently working on 2 other businesses. One actually came from like a need from Ayla. And, this like journey that I'm on right now with motherhood, and like, I go on mommy blogs all the time. Anytime like my son has eczema, I'm like, I want to know what other moms are using, because I feel like for me, that's more credible than like just going and just like seeing what a doctor posts. I don't know. I just feel like I just trust moms more, And this next business that
nowadays you don't know who's being paid by who.
Exactly.
So moms are like, let me see what they're
but
really
like just
saying.
like her age range right now, I just feel like there's a need for like solution driven products that I feel like I'm finding issues with her right now where I'm like, damn, I go to Whole Foods and I'm like, there's nothing on the shelves for what I need for Ayla. This next business that I'm doing, I actually want to bring people more along the journey as opposed to before. I'm like, I don't want people to know that I'm doing that. You know what I mean?
Right. I love that you take time to not only balance for yourself, like your self-care or whatever, but also time with Troy. Like, I think it's so important. And you said that you take time to travel.
I feel like traveling is so important for me because that is like mine and his time when we connect. We don't always bring the kids. Sometimes we do. But like when it's just me and him, that is our fun time. That is when I can give you fun Yris or like me 100%. Because honestly, in the day-to-day, sometimes I tell him like I'm overstimulated. I have 4 meetings or like, he'll, and like he sees sometimes he knows like, I'm just not even I'm gonna turn around the other way. Like I'm on the phone all day or this or that, and sometimes like, things get stressful and then I have the kids, mommy. It's like,
I think what's so good about you is, yes, you're so determined and you don't take no for an answer, but you also do that in your personal life. Like, you're like, no, I need this time with my spouse. I need this time with my kids. You block off, you set your boundaries, and people just know to respect that. And I think I can be too nice sometimes with things, or I'm like, I'm a yes person. And like sometimes you've got to be a no person.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like you just do it really well and seamlessly. And I think people get afraid to say no, but then you're going to crash and burn. And it's just not sustainable.
Yeah. And it's a bigger downfall, I feel like.
You have said that inspiring your community is your passion and your purpose in life. Why is that?
Because of my circumstances. Because I think there's so much self-doubt within us because we lack so many resources. They don't teach us that in school, like taxes or even life insurance or, how to grow your money or how to invest in different funds. Like we're not taught none of that. So it's like, I want to start like, not like a mentorship, but yeah, like I want to start pouring into my community. There's right now, I don't know, like TikTok especially, there is like the Latino community, there's not really like a platform for us. Like you don't really see many of us on TV or like even like a reality TV. I've been approached like 8 times about a reality show and I've literally turned it all down because I just feel like it wasn't the right opportunity for me, or I just feel like I don't want to be on a show just to be on a show. I want to be on a show that I can share my story, inspire my community, and like give more light and make a difference, And so I feel like I see so many girls that I'm like, oh my God, like streaming. People are streaming right now and their numbers are crazy. Like I see these girls, they're bringing 80,000 viewers to like certain, people's live streams. And I'm like, there is such a community and audience of us. And one thing about the Latino community is we really support and show up for each other because we want to see you win.
Right.
We want the one person that like we weren't
representing us.
Yes,
to really
be
win.
Here,
Yes.
So I think like there is strength in my community. I think
oh yes,
I think Spanish, it's up there with English. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think and my kids speak Spanish, but I think it's like, it's just so important to continue to stay within my roots. And it makes me feel good. Like when I go back to El Salvador, it's like, I feel so at peace.
You do an excellent job at that.
Thank you.
You do. And even how you keep your kids are in Latino dance.
Oh yeah, Ila's learning salsa, merengue, bachata, all that.
I'm watching your stories.
Reggaeton. I got to take you to a reggaeton concert.
I would go. I
took Kylie and Corey to J Balvin and like this whole. When I tell you how much fun we had at your birthday party,
yes,
that's how much fun the next reggaeton concert I'm taking you. We're going because it's like it's just so.
I would love to go.
It's nothing but good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes. I'm into it.
Yeah,
I think you would be great, and I don't know what platform this would be, but I feel like you now have built all these connections and you have all these relationships, or you just are so knowledgeable of certain things. Like you need, whether it be a website where people come to you like and ask you like, where do I do this? How do I do this? How do I start a business? I don't know what that is. Or if it's streaming and you're giving advice for those things and you sort of answer questions. But I think like that is so up your alley.
Yeah.
Because people want to come to you. You've done the complete 180 and they're rooting for you, but also you have such trust in your community.
Yeah.
So I just feel like who wouldn't want to get advice from you? And you've had your failures.
And I kind of do that with
struggles.
Snapchat a little bit. I feel like on Instagram, I just feel like it's such a different like platform than like Snapchat is. I don't know if you feel like that. But on Snapchat, like I talk to them literally like I'm on FaceTime with like my best friend. And I just feel like I have this community where people are like really like engaging with me and like my views are crazy on there. And like I just think that like they like the like raw, like, you know, following you in the day. Like people love that stuff, you know?
Do. What do you think is next for you?
I think I'm definitely going to be more on TV. And I think I am going to work with a bigger like Latin organization here. And then more businesses.
Are you someone that's like, okay, in 5 years, I see myself XYZ? Do you do that?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I also don't like to put all of my goals out there because I just feel like they're sacred and really special for me. And I'm like, you know, I kind of like want to say it after it's done. It's like, yeah, that was one of my goals 5 years ago. Like I'm also like very much like that. But I do a vision board every year, and every year now it's more specific. So it's more detailed. It's like there's like my 2 businesses that are coming out, there's a certain plan, there's a certain number, there's a certain execution. Like I am very, very precise now because now I know like the power of manifestation is so real, you guys. And be very, very specific. Like my first one, I was just cutting and putting everything that I thought was nice up there, like without a doubt. And I got it all, but I was like, I didn't really want a BMW. That wasn't like my dream car. I just put it up there and then I happened to get it. When I look back at the vision board, I'm like, wait, what? This is so freaky. You know, now
it is the
I
power
am very,
of the universe.
very specific. I'm like, this is the neighborhood. This is the house. This is the car. This is what I want for my kid. Like I'm even with my kids, you guys, I manifested my kids. Like their zodiac sign. Like I also go by the Chinese calendar. I don't know, I'm a little crazy. But there's a specific Chinese calendar that I go by that will tell you the age, and then you look at the month that you're supposed to conceive, and that'll tell you if you're having a boy or a girl. So I'm like very much a planner as well. So I'm like, my kids need to get along. I need this zodiac sign. Like it's a little OCD sometimes, but
no. But I also think it contributes to why you are such a great businesswoman. Like, and yes, that is going to bleed into your family life because you can't cut it off.
Troy was like, "Why are we going? Why are we following this chart?" I said, Just trust me.
Just go along with it, Troy.
September is the month, okay?
Yeah, you're like, just go along with it, Troy.
So funny.
No, it really is. I can praise you all day. There's so many great things I can say about you. And I just want you to know that I think your story is helping so many people and inspiring so many people. And yeah, I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
I really am.
And thank you for inviting me into your space.
Oh
this
my
is
gosh.
Beautiful. I've
Thank
listened
you for
to all of your episodes. You've had some of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been crazy.
And I think you're totally meant to do this.
Thank you. It's easy when it's talking to people that you love. It really is. Yeah. Well, thank you. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we didn't talk about?
No, I think I covered everything.
Yeah. I thought it was great.